Ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 is coming, and I need every single race in that game to have a bunch of sick transformations. I've made videos on demons, androids, Saiyans, Earthlings, and even the Frieza race, but today, we are going to talk about the transformations I want to see for Namekians in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. But before I list the forms I want to see for Namekians, I want to talk about how I think the form should work in the first place. Saiyans are the damage class of Dragon Ball Xenoverse. They are supposed to do a lot of damage, so their forms reflect that. But other races specialize in doing different things. That's why in my Frieza Race video, instead of focusing on doing a lot of damage, I focused on Frieza Race Awoken skills buffing the speed and the stamina recovery of Frieza races. Awoken skills should maximize the special traits of each race, so they are the best at that by far. And in a future Majin video, their Awoken skills will focus on buffing their defense. And for the Namekian Awoken skills in this video, they will all focus on boosting the health and the stamina recovery of Namekians, because those are the special traits Namekians have. But just because the Awoken skills will focus on the health and stamina recovery does not mean they can't also boost damage. In the same way how Saiyan Awoken skills boost speed, boost defense, Namekian Awoken skills will also boost other things too. So let's start with number 1 on this list, and I want to talk about a slept on gem. And that gem is the red-eyed Namekian form. I will be honest, before I thought it was low-key a pipe dream to ever actually get this form, but with Project Age 1000, going back to the roots of Dragon Ball Online, and exploring the world of Age 1000, I think we finally have a chance to see this form in another game. I mean, in the opening cinematic of Dragon Ball Online, we see the rival Namekian use this form to match the power of a Super Saiyan. And with Dragon Ball Daima, we see it is very consistent for really overpowered Namekians to have this really cool red-eyed form. Also, fun fact, in Dragon Ball Heroes, the God transformation for Namekians was a red-eye and blue-eyed form. But I would rather go the Dragon Ball Online route and have the red-eyed form be the Namekian equivalent of Super Saiyan. Mainly because we already have the Power Awakening in orange form. Those are the Namekian gap closers to the Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, Super Saiyan God level of power. So we don't need a fake God Key form to do that anymore. I think the red-eyed form would be a great early game Namekian Awoken skill. Now, when it comes to the actual buffs of this form, as I said earlier, I want Namekian Awoken skills to focus on boosting the stamina recovery and the health of Namekians. But I do want to clarify what I mean when I say boost the health of Namekians. Similar to Ribrianne's ultimate that boosts your maximum ki and stamina, I think Namekian Awoken skills should boost your maximum amount of health. So hypothetically, if a Namekian has 1 bar of health, they now have 2 bars of health. And if they are at half HP of their 1 health bar, when they transform, they will only have 1 full health bar. Also, I want to clarify, you cannot spam this on and off to gain health. It's only going to increase the amount of health you already have. And it's obviously not going to literally double your health. But when it comes to the damage increase of the red-eyed form, I could see it being similar to the Super Saiyan God skill and being a great basic attack Awoken skill for Namekians. But again, because Neva also has this form, we can get even more creative. Saiyans have 3 different versions of the regular Super Saiyan form that all do different things. So, we can have a Warrior Clan and a Dragon Clan version of the red-eyed form. It could be something simple like the Warrior Clan version gives you a basic attack increase while the Dragon Clan version gives you a increase to your Ki Blast damage, but I think something even more unique and something even more cool would be to increase the power of your allies. In Dragon Ball Online, the Dragon Clan were a supporting class, and Neva is constantly shown powering up his allies from his own Tamagami to even Goku. I think having both Warrior and Dragon Clan red-eyed forms would be great. But that is just my personal opinion. Now on to the next form on this video. And that form is the Super Namekian / True Namekian Fusion Awoken skill. Visually, I would love if they did what Dragon Ball Kakarot did with this form. This unique white aura perfectly matches what Piccolo looked like when he fought Cell, instead of being a generic white aura like Potential Unleashed. Now, when it comes to actually buffing this form, not only should it have the generic stamina recovery and health increase that all Namekian forms should have, I think instead of having a damage increase, this form should increase the regeneration of Namekians. I got this idea because in the show, when Piccolo fused with Kami and became a Super Namekian again, his regeneration just increased by an insane amount. On Namek, Frieza shooting a small hole through his chest almost killed him, and he would have died if Dende didn't heal him later. This man Piccolo survived Imperfect Cell breaking his neck and shooting a gigantic hole through his torso. He then regenerated his injuries and swam back up to land by himself. This man is goated, bro. Plus, he did that after fighting Android 17, being super gassed out, and then he wasted the rest of his energy on the light grenade. Then, in the Buu Saga, Piccolo states that he can regenerate from pretty much anything as long as his head is intact. Now, because of balance, in Xenoverse, Namekians can only heal the red part of their health bar, but it's not that fast, so this form should make that healing really fast. This form won't have any attack increases, but if you want to kill someone using this form, you're going to have to deal a lot of damage really fast with a ultimate or a really strong super attack. You're pretty much fighting a giant Namekian cockroach. Wait a minute. Now, next are the forms that have the highest chance of getting into Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. We have the Power Awakening and Orange forms. Now, when it comes to Power Awakening, this is pretty much just Piccolo's own version of the Potential Unleashed form. So, I think this form can have similar buffs to Potential Unleashed. But the reason why this form will be better than the regular Potential Unleashed form is because, like every other Namekian skill, it will have a boost to your health and your stamina recovery. Potential Unleashed is already one of the best forms in the game, so just making that even better will be a solid Namekian Awoken skill. And please, do not just make this a yellow form, take away the lines on the arm, and also make the character buffer, please. I really like this form, and I don't want them to downgrade it to make it look like you just got done taking a golden shower. Next on the list is the orange form, and I want this thing to be powerful. This thing needs to have a crazy amount of defense and a really nice attack increase overall. But to balance this form, I want to do two things. Unlike the other Namekian Awoken skills, I do not want this to increase your stamina recovery. And again, this form is going to give you a lot of defense and attack power, so I want to make it balanced. I could see another downside to being in this form is that you won't have the natural regeneration. For a while, that's been one of my ideas on how to nerf this form. But surprisingly, someone in one of my comment sections had the same opinion, and they said the reason why they thought that is because in the movie, when Piccolo fought Cell Max, he did not regenerate immediately. He was just taking those blows and he was enduring it like crazy. His orange form has crazy durability. I love it when game balance is able to reference the actual story or lore. And I want this form to be powerful, so I think this could be a really good nerf to make the form not broken. But then again, you can just make the form not that strong and give a smaller nerf. Something small could be that the form just makes you really slow, because in Xenoverse, Orange Piccolo is like very slow for some reason. I think this form deserves to be really strong, but there has to be some downsides to make it balanced. And I don't want those downsides to just be stamina or ki drain. In my opinion, those are both really lazy, unfun ways to make something balanced. And I think every race should have one form that does a lot of damage. In Xenoverse, we're going to be doing parallel quests, expert missions, raids. Every race deserves to have a form so they can be viable in those modes and do a lot of damage, but still be less than the Saiyan God forms that can give an upwards of 35 to even 40% damage increase. I think a solid like 20% increase to damage and defense would be great for this form. But how would you guys balance the Orange Piccolo form? And for the last thing on this list, we have the Giant Orange Piccolo form. Now, this will mechanically be pretty much the exact same thing as the regular Giant form. The only real difference I could see happening would be maybe this form has stronger super attacks, while the regular Giant form could have stronger basic attacks. Also, I have already made an entire video on playable Giants, and when it comes to playable Giants, Xenoverse 3, please give us more moves than just Mouth Beam. Also, when it comes to how the orange form should look, please, Xenoverse, make the character way taller and buffer. Also, if they have antenna, please make the antenna stick up. Now, if they have spikes or something else, then you can pretty much just leave those alone. But if they do have a variation of the antenna, make those stick up. And just like the Super Saiyan 3 eyebrows, please, when we go orange, give us the Giga Chad chin. I would love that so much. But the thing that would make this perfect is if you give us the symbol on our backs. And to make it easy, just do what you did in the cutscene towards a floating light behind our backs. The symbol of the Agisa tree narratively just makes the orange Piccolo form amazing, and I would love to have that in the game too. Also, if Xenoverse wanted to make a hypothetical Dark Namekian transformation, I would not be against that at all. That would be pretty cool. Especially since in Age 1000, Dark Namekians are one of the big villain groups. And with Dark Namekians comes the Demon Clansmen. And I also know some of you guys want a Shadow Dragon Awoken skill for Namekians. Now, if we don't get that, I hope at least when we customize our character, Namekians have more options, like having wings like demons and Shadow Dragons, or having a beard of spikes like Omega Shenron, and just other stuff like that. That would help Namekians look so much more diverse. Now, that is pretty much the end of this video. Let me know if I missed any Namekian transformations. Now, next video will be my video on Majin Awoken skills. Look out for that video. It will be up soon, but I will catch you guys later. God bless. I am out.